The three basic financial documents we need to be able to read and understand are 1, the balance sheet, 2, the income statement, and 3, the cash flow statement. You work hard. You want more money. You bust your butt week after week, and it feels like you're barely keeping your head above water. Is the 47-year plan working for you? Spending decades making your bosses rich and then retiring at 65 and praying for a pension? What we are discussing is the foundation of what it takes to change your life so you can work smarter, not harder. Understanding money is the key to financial freedom, if you're not a billionaire heiress or a top-tier athlete. There are 3 things you need to know if you're going to start your own business or if you want to let your money go to work for you by knowing where to invest your money. The balance sheet is a snapshot of a company on a given day. So if you want to know what my company's financials look like right now, today, you look at my balance sheet for today. The balance sheet at its simplest form is this formula. Assets minus liabilities equals owner's equity. Assets are what you own, liabilities are what you owe. Then owner's equity is the worth of the business. Assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. 2, the income statement is a picture of a business over a specific time period. It basically shows the relationship between revenues and expenses. Revenues minus expenses equals profit. Revenues are the money you make. Expenses are the money you spend. Profit is when your revenue is more than your expenses, and loss is when your expenses are more than your revenue. The cash flow statement. This indicates how much cash a company has and provides information on how able a company is to meet future financial obligations. This uses info from the balance sheet and the income statement, so it's prepared last. Starting cash plus cash in minus cash out equals cash on hand. There is an indirect statement and a direct statement of cash flows. The direct method is much simpler and is the method we will discuss here. The cash flow statement breaks cash flow down into operating activities, investing activities, and financial activities. We can break down activities even further into inflows and outflows. Inflows are collections from customers. Outflows are cash out to suppliers, cash for operating expenses, cash for income taxes. Investing activities include purchase of equipment and plant. Financing activities include proceeds from loans and stock sales or buybacks. Now that we know what these documents are about, let's see what they look like. Here we have the example of the balance sheet. Right here we have assets, liabilities, and then equity. Now remember the formula, assets minus liabilities equals equity, or assets equals liabilities plus equity. So over here we take a look at our assets. We have cash, inventory, accounts receivable, fixed assets, and altogether that adds up to the $21,000. Over here we have liabilities, accounts payable, we owe $3,000. We have $5,000 worth of long-term debt, which is $8,000. Then you have stock worth $6,000 and retained earnings is $7,000. All of this should add up $21,000, $21,000, and everything is balanced. That's where the term balance sheet comes in. By the way, the balance sheet is also known and now known officially as the statement of financial position. Over here we have a very simplified version of the income statement. Remember, the formula for the income statement is revenues minus expenses equals profit. Revenues minus expenses equals profit. So here we have sales, $23,000, and then we're subtracting how much it took to make these goods that we're selling. That leaves us with a balance of $14,000. Then operating costs. How much does it take to run the business, whatever business this is? $5,000, which now leaves us with an operating margin of $9,000. We subtract taxes, $4,000. Boom, which leaves us with a net profit margin of $5,000. This is a very simplified version, but we will take a look at a more complicated version. I also want to point out that the name of the income statement, the official name, has also changed. It is now called the Statement of Comprehensive Income. That's the official title, but many people still know these documents as balance sheet and income statements, but their official names are Statement of Financial Position for the balance sheet and this is the statement of comprehensive income. Let's take a look at the cash flow statement. We've got our operating activities, our investing activities, and our financing activities. So we see we have the money we're getting from customers, $23,000. Money is going out, $3,000. It's in the parentheses. And then we've got operating expenses, income taxes, payments for interest, which leaves us after the $23,000 with $10,000 of cash from operating activities. Then when we get to investing activities, we're spending $2,000. So it's $2,000 spent. Financing activities, we take a loan out for $7,000. We pay $1,000 on the loan. So we have $6,000 left. Altogether, we have a $14,000 increase in cash. Beginning cash was $4,000, so ending cash is now $18,000. This is a simplified version of a cash flow statement. Now, let's take a look at an actual business's financial documents. Over here, we are looking at an official balance sheet for Twitter. Now, you may see these numbers, think 2 million, that's not a lot of money. But if you look at the top, it's in thousands. So this number that looks like 2 million is actually 2 billion. So we look, we've got the assets, we've got assets, we've got current assets, we've got cash and cash equivalents. Then we go down, we see goodwill, deferred tax assets, then we see total assets. Then we get to liabilities, stockholders' equity, current liabilities, convertible notes long-term, senior notes long-term, total liabilities down here. Then you come down further, stockholders' equity, preferred stock, additional paid in capital, and then total stockholders' equity, total liabilities, and stockholders' equity all the way at the bottom, which is looks like 13 million, but it's 13,550,957,000. So this gives you an idea of what an actual balance sheet looks like. And if you're thinking of investing in Twitter, this is probably one of the places you'd want to look at first to see how strong the company is. Then over here we have Twitter's income statement. We start off with the revenue, which it looks like 1 million, but once again it's in thousands, so it's $1.2 billion. Then we have costs and expenses, research and development, sales and marketing. All of these are expenses. Then you come down here to net income. We have net income per share, basic, diluted. And again, if you would like to invest in Twitter, this is probably a great place to start looking at the balance sheet, the income statement, and then next we'll be looking at the statement of cash flow. And here we have Twitter's consolidated statements of cash flow. We start with the cash flows from operating activities. You see a little further down, you've got the investing activities. Then you've got the financing activities. And one of the interesting things you can learn about this is where Twitter's making its money from. Because we may not have realized where a lot of Twitter's money is coming from. Like if you look at how much Twitter is making from investing, it's like, okay, over $1 billion worth of investing. These are some of the things you need to take into consideration if you're deciding whether or not to invest in this company. And once again, you can see that all of these amounts are in thousands. And if you take a look at the total cash on hand, restricted cash on hand is $2.3 billion. And if you compare it to, and remember, this is a 3-month period that they're talking about. And if you compare it to last year's 3-month period, there's actually less on hand now than then, which is something you might want to take in consideration if you're thinking about investing in this company. Thank you for checking out this episode of Escaping the Echo Chamber. If you found this useful, feel free to hit the thumbs up, give me a like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you liked and what you want me to cover in the future. Also, if you would like to put this information to use, you can check out this video and it'll tell you where you can find this information and these documents from publicly traded companies. Let's get to work.